monsters. There is a great level of fascination for these entities. Being referenced for essentially thousands of years across humanity's history, this category of creatures have been used as a vehicle for fear, danger, sin, or simply the unknown. In media, they are often seen as evil, antagonists, a target, an obstacle that must be overcome, either metaphorically or literally. They can be many things and perceived in many different ways, but in the end, they are essentially the embodiment, the manifestation of adversity. And from all the media present in modern society, gaming is the one that takes this to the letter the most. The vast majority of games out there have some sort of monsters to an extent. Rogue machines, aliens, artificially engineered animals, magical beings, Asian mythology interpretations, mutated creatures, and many other variants. People enjoy interacting with them because they provide us with experiences that we'll never have in real life. I mean, when was the last time you fought a dragon? Yeah, me neither. These fictional and fantastical elements helps us undergo joyful, exotic, and unplicable moments. Or in other words, killing monsters is pretty cool. Not only they offer an excellent form of escapism, they allow developers to craft ingenious scenarios and in-game tools that we, the consumers, can utilize to defeat our monstrous adversaries, and thus turn engagements more inherently exciting. And their designs are crucial for the success of both those aspects. In such heavily populated and competitive market, games fight for the audience's attention on a daily basis, and to catch the eye of gamers, they have to immediately and easily stand out from the crowd now more than ever, with visuals being an extremely important part of it. Even if the gameplay is solid, games that lack unique visual flair will always be inferior to the ones that do. A powerful aesthetic makes a game more easily identifiable, but even more so, it captivates people looking for a specific experience. A concept used on everything, being atmosphere, lighting, level design, character design, and of course, enemy design. The latter in particular is often highly valued within the gaming community. How enemy types does the game have? Do they look cool? Are they just reskins of each other, or do they differ gameplay-wise? Points like these are amongst the most common during any discussion or review. Players are interested in this aspect because, more often than not, the way enemies are made can show the level of quality and dedication put into the title in question. This matters to people because not only they mean content, they also determine the quality of said content. Unfortunately, not all are crafted equally. Some are simply superior, and the game with the absolute best monster design belongs to Monster Hunter. And they 100% deserve it. Here's why. This franchise, ever since its introduction in 2004, is about one thing and one thing only: hunting monsters.
The prophecy is true.
Its core gameplay loop revolves around finding a monster, kill it, collect its body parts, make gear out of that, and search for stronger monsters to kill and repeat the cycle. With such a simplistic loop, each individual component becomes exponentially more impactful and contributes to a much larger degree to the game's overall enjoyment. Capcom was from the very beginning well aware of this notion. They knew that the game's monsters were, and still are, the major focus of the series. They are the player's progression, the majority of the content, and the majority of the engagement. Players fight them for hundreds if not thousands of hours, so each and every single one must be distinct, interesting, and mentally stimulating, both from a mechanical and visual standpoint. Thus, a lot of effort was put into the creatures' designs, and the end result was a masterpiece. The level of detail the developers went into while creating these fictional creatures is utterly mind-blowing. On the surface, they appear good, but nothing out of the ordinary. Some even may look below average in comparison to other titles. But underneath their superficial layer lies an insurmountable amount of complexity. And those details is what makes them so incredibly great. It is often said that the best design is the one made with purpose. And there is no better example of exactly that than the bosses found in Monster Hunter. Everything, absolutely everything belonging to these monsters was created intentionally. Their skeletons, their anatomy, color scheme, animations, sound design, mechanics, attacks, to even its armor and weapons. All of it was made with a very specific purpose. And that purpose was immersion. This IP always put a major emphasis on that. Capcom worked towards creating a world that is not only enticing and glamorous, but most importantly, believable. They wanted people to be fully immersed while playing, to feel like they were there, to make them feel like they belonged. And to achieve that, everything has to contribute for that effect. The maps, game mechanics, lore, audio, and of course, the monsters. These are not savage beasts, nor evil beings bloodthirsty for humans. Not villains, nor antagonists. They are purely and simply animals. All being part of a very complex and well-established ecosystem where each species has a role in it. They behave like animals. They interact with the world like animals, with even their anatomy being created under that concept. Every single horn, every single limb, wing, armor plate, tail, and claw has intention behind it. Here's some examples. Kurupeko's digits are fused into a mass of keratin and some sort of metallic substance, which in collision with one another causes a thermal reaction, creating a small explosion. Duramboros' tail has a club-like shape covered with multiple layers of highly developed osteoderms, used not only for defense against predators, but also to knock down trees, which is his main food source. Great Macau's tail is considerably wide, fully covered in dense keratin and claw-shaped circuits to support the animal's weight, allowing it to catapult itself with it, throwing the monster at high speeds towards their prey. These traits certainly are used as tools and weapons during combat, making their fights more unique and mechanically deep and diverse, but the developers didn't just stop there. They went the extra mile and made their physiology believable and purposeful. These creatures are not the way they are solely to provide players with a specific gameplay experience, although of course that was also part of the process. They look this way not just to make the fights more engaging, they are animals with anatomical features that formed over the course of their evolutionary path to suit their environment. Sure, those characteristics are extremely exaggerated, but despite their visual absurdity, they are yet credible within the Monster Hunter universe. That philosophy can still be found in monsters that are almost identical to one another. Rathalos and Rathian, arguably the most well-known characters of the franchise, despite belonging to the same species and being just the male and female variants of it respectively, were crafted with enough dissimilarity to both provide with two separate gameplay experiences while keeping the same theme, and thus maintaining their relatability of being the same species while being physically and mechanically distinct enough to not feel like they are mere reskins of one another. Basarius and Gravius are on the same boat. If anything, they are an even more extreme case since these two are just different life stages of the same animal, with the former being a juvenile and the latter a fully grown adult. In this situation, they are not necessarily completely unique, but Gravius being rather a more complex and difficult version of Basarius, once again adding enough visual and mechanical variation to make them two separate monsters. Even elder dragons, which are supposed to be manifestations of natural disasters, creatures with capabilities beyond human comprehension still follow this concept, though in a more loose way. Velstrax, for example, combusts its own dragon element and uses its engine-like wings to propel itself at extremely high speeds. You can even see it inhale huge amounts of oxygen to create said combustion. Even this monster classification, that by default goes against the authenticity route and introduces hyper-fantastical and inexplicable elements into the game, even they are made with some level of credibility in mind. In fact, Capcom put so much thought, so much time and resources into this that they made full art, lore, and guidebooks detailing the numerous components of each monster and the process of their development in some cases. This is the level of dedication they go into with their monster designs, because they know the monsters are an essential, if not the most essential, component of the game. This is what makes them the pinnacle of design on the market. They look cool, they look distinct, they function differently, their gameplay and anatomy complement each other to generate a unique experience laser focused on immersion. And the most incredible thing of them all is that they managed to do this over 350 times. Now that's impressive. So next time you play a Monster Hunter game, look at the monster that you're facing. Really look at it and wonder how much thought it was put into it and just how deep its rabbit hole goes. A huge thank you to my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel and the content I create. If you wanna join the ranks, you can do so for only $1 a month. The link will be in the description. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and opinions down below, join our Discord server, engage with the community, and I hope to see you all next time.